guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going into episode 11 of MedalMan WICSO series. And we're going to be continuing with the absolute chaos that is this world. And also, I have finished up all of the provinces. So yeah, let's jump right in. First off, we need to go over to Morocco, where we see the pink team get invaded. The orange team wants to try and be the dominant nation in this whole area, considering they are the first ones to respond to it. And so they launch an attack against the pink team. And however, they are stopped right by the capital and the pink team pushes them back. They do the terrain a lot better than the orange team does, because they actually live down here quite commonly and begin to push the orange team back. As they sweep up through here into this city, the orange team is forced to just completely give up on the war and hand over this territory to the pink team. Now, the orange team has been facing losses on multiple fronts, and so they begin to get unstable, including 2 revolutions. First off, we have this area breaking away, which the orange team honestly cannot do much about, because they have a much more homeland issue, a Sicily issue, as southern Sicily, the rest of the mainland, and even a part of Malta fall into complete revolution. We would see them sweep up through this city and eventually take this. However, we would see the orange team repel them off of Malta. They would try to rescue the island leading into this city, however would be forced back hard. The Samnites march into Corsica and seize it, and Carthage, realizing that it's over, are forced to let go of Sicily. In the following peace treaty, the Samnites take the rest of this, becoming its own state. It shouldn't surprise you that the Samnites funded this revolution. Unless it does, which is perfectly fine. Now, we go all the way up here, back to England, with Brittany and Normandy continuing up into the land. We see Normandy come up here along the East Anglian coast and going pretty far up it, all the way to the border with Scotland. We see Brittany from their side through Wales, exploring that whole peninsula and going up this coast of England, with explorations finding each other. We see something else interesting happen. A part of Britons and Gauls coming up through here and like this would come up along this coast to here, and one group would cross this sea, noticing the different type of waves, and would find Ireland, while another group would continue up north along the dense bays and stuff, and would eventually find the Great Scottish Valley, I think it's called, or something. And we would see 2 more nations form. The Scottish and the Irish. Along with this, we would see Brittany sees this, and Normandy sees this. From there, with all these states up here and potential opportunity, we see expansion very quickly. Yes, in this world there is no Isle of Man. We would see the Irish come down here with Brittany exploring over across this sea and finding Southern Ireland, and the actual Irish state, realizing the issue, would quickly explore the north coast of the island, eventually looking around and finding Brittany explorers on the south part of the island, meaning Ireland is discovered. We would also see Normandy in Scotland find this whole part, and Scotland find the rest of the mainland and the Oakland Islands, however not finding the Shetlands or that North Archipelago yet. And we would see each of these nations race for the land and divide it up. Let's check that out. And we would see something like this becoming the map of England, with, as you can tell, plenty of new states, including 2 new Irish states, and a South Scottish and a North Scottish state. I'm sorry if those sound wrong, but those are the only things I can really call them right now. Well, now, with the UK covered, also real quick, with these people finding what they believe most of the land up here, we see them begin to explore into these bays, trying maybe there's more islands. But who knows? Maybe there are. Who's to tell them? Anyway, we now come over here to the Brown team, who begins to launch large explorations of Scandinavia. They send an exploration up the Norwegian coast, and eventually find the Oslo Bay and this coast, connecting it to there. We also explore up this coast and find this island, along with this bay, and even find that island. I should really know what they are called. And they decide that they're going to make some expansion along these areas. What we would see is that they would favor to make a bunch of port things along the coast because they cannot reliably go inland. Essentially making a trading empire, I guess you could call it, with a bunch of, well, you guessed it, ports along all these different areas. You can also see them explore this direction and down the Vistula River with some decent help from this green team. You see these Latvians going to the sea, finding this island, but also find the Dutch right there, and eventually this whole South Baltic Sea would be discovered along with that island. But I can't even tell that yet. This other island would also be discovered, and the Latvians, being the finders of it, although annoying the Estonians, would be able to take it. They would also move south and conquer this territory. However, this is fine for the Estonians, as they can still go north and take this territory. And honestly, they even take this area in between the two. We see them also explore farther down the Daugava River into deep Latvia and begin to conquer it. Although hard, because it gets really cold as you go inland. It was already pretty cold as you go north, but it gets really cold inland. They're only really able to make one city in this whole deep area. with cities, of course, here and here, and probably even one on that. We also, down here, see these two decide to make a treaty where essentially the green team will stay on this side of Vistula, the brown team will stay on this side of Vistula. And surprisingly, they follow that. At least for now, with the green team seizing this territory, along with more inland territories, and the brown team stretching up on the coast through Gdansk and down to right there. I'm probably gonna forget that by the next episode, but oh well. Right here, we would see the pink team explore south and find the Sand Knights. This would understandably pretty much shock them. Without area to explore there, though, they would turn this direction and explore essentially into Hungary and even into bits of what we know as Slovakia, I think. And if I think so. I don't know. We would see both nations go for this new territory. And eventually, without these cities yet, though, we have something like this being conquered. Now we move down into the Balkans, specifically down to Greece. They are in the Square Alliance, as we can see. However, they've been wanting to pull away for a long time, because they no longer really have a reason to be in it. And them, also since we forcing the purple team, they're out. Because the purple team was mainly against them, but this alliance fraction, these people are worrying about Romanians, and the blue nation has already been destroyed. So these guys see no reason to be in the alliance. However, this would turn terrible for this team, as many of their people didn't really want to leave the alliance, and so separatist groups decided to take action. We would see Epirus secede here. We would see the Thessaloniki area secede, and we would also see what? The South secede. However, Greece really isn't able to do much about this, as most of the cities take it, and trying to fight a war would be devastating, so they decide that they're just going to have to let them go. Now only a 3-city nation. And now the beige team, without Albania being in the alliance, jumps on the opportunity, marching into the country and seizing this city. And although Albania is able to hold off, they essentially become a microstate on the coast. More or less becoming a beige team puppet state, with even the South falling. The age of this Albanian nation that used to be all across here has come to essentially an end. Now we come down all the way to the Middle East, where we see the what's it called? This whole area right here undergo an age of nationalism as many small regions begin to develop and feel like their regions should have more say in the nation, leading to essentially the first, other than Cyprus and the Irish and Scottish states, we see the first like true republics form out of revolution. You would see the Pink Team Interior rebel. We would see the South Blue Team rebel. We would see I'm gonna make that. Oh crap! Sorry, I didn't even realize I was on the screen. Hold up. Sorry, it was taking me really long. To sum it up for you, the entire region just collapses, with multiple new small nations forming. However, two nations don't accept the losses. The red team not accepting this, and the purple team not accepting this. The red team would have decent success. They actually are unable to capitulation, but they are able to force them back from the coast, and after a while, the blue team is forced to accept that they don't have a coastline. Purple team also has a bit of success, although for how weak the rebellion was, they should have been able to do a lot better and are forced to reluctantly give up the nation, only taking some small border territories. With feeling like they were betrayed by the Alliance, we see both of these states drop out of the Diamond Alliance. Now the Diamond Alliance is just these three central nations. Now we move down to Eritrea, which very simply again, you see I'm just doing some casual expansionism. Seizing this territory, however, exploring far down, now into parts of Kenya, along with, finally, some more expansions into the interior, as down here, well, down here honestly isn't as bad as the Sahara Desert. We also, up here, see much more of the Arabian Desert get explored, with honestly just the very center still unknown to people. However, with all that, we have these nations race for it and essentially partitioned.